Good. I'll just introduce myself. I am, as a moderator, I'm Shantanu Basu. I've been practicing, in fact, my entire legal career in the Silicon Valley, and I started off about 20 plus years ago, right maybe a couple of years before the explosion in the startup industry with the dot-com era came in. I had been in Silicon Valley before when it was more slower growth of startups, perhaps better qualities, but from the Genentechs and the biotech end and the Yahoo, not the Yahoo, but Intels and on the semiconductor end, and then of course eventually the Yahoos, the Ciscos, the Oracles, you know it. And that of course has a constant thriving culture which is unlike any other places. It's a high-risk culture, and maybe there are differences culturally and difficulty in adopting that mindset. And so the way we're going to go is, let me just get started with a little brief overview of what startups are. So, okay. So why start a company? And this is a little quote from a former MIT graduate who did start up a company way back when and I think he graduated in 1957 or something like that. And he started Analog Devices. And it's a very bold statement. Starting a company is about creating something new that in some way will change the world and address unmet human needs. Change the world, most startups probably do want to do. This broad vision is what keeps them going. And there are various aspects of starting up a company that we will address through this session. Starting with innovation, getting money to produce tech, go ahead with the innovation, figuring out the market, and how to run the company. Of course, today's discussion will focus more on the IP aspects of things. Some considerations of, I'm just giving this as a background of subjects that you should be thinking of as you go along, because this is where startups place a lot more emphasis on than larger companies. First of all, is the invention, innovation on which the startup is based on disruptive technology? Does it change paradigms? And even if it doesn't, what then? How do you go ahead with how big your impact is going to be on the overall game or not? Timing, risk, and of course market analysis, and all this, the intellectual property plays a massive role in all of this because of the following reason. We are talking about starting up something new, mostly by people with not a lot of money. So how do you run a startup? Where does the money come from? The organic growth model is probably many thousands of years old. You make something, sell it, make a profit, make some more, sell it again, make some more profit. That, I guess, in today's day and age is not really a way to make a significant startup or a company. So you have friends and family as investors. The first round probably to become a tangible company. Then you have angel investors who could help you out and there are grants from governments and various private institutions. The smaller grants called ignition grants, usually which just make sure you get your proof of concept, etc. together. And the US government has innovation grants like the SBIR, which over 3 stages really increases the funding. And of course then you go to venture capital before you decide to go IPO or decide to be bought out or whatever. Now what do you have? What does a startup have at this point to get all this money? They've innovated something, that's the starting point. Then they have a marketing pitch. like a PowerPoint, much like this. They say, we can do this, this is the market size, we're going to change the world. But you're asking people to give you millions of dollars to get started. And the only property you have, a legal right to a property at that stage, is your intellectual property. That's the importance of this session. The intellectual property for a startup is its lifeblood. Without that, most of them won't survive. Okay, now I would ask Yohei to come in and give us a comprehensive picture of how Japan is dealing with this situation, and then we'll kind of have a global perspective on this.